Well, 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 well. Whew. I'm always coming in from outside when I do these, aren't I? What's up?
When you're done with your video, do you mind turning off mic?
Sure. Why, are you getting chats and stuff?
Yeah. Like, I literally just joined, and then there was another kid that had mic.
Well,
And I left.
okay, I'll turn it off in a minute. What was I saying? I'm always hot when I'm coming down here. I'm coming in from outside all the time. Yeah, we're in the middle of like a 60 episode run here. No, more than that. There's like 62 LJNs or something, plus, I don't know, 30 of the XOX customs. 26 more memorable TV moments after today's. We got some content for the channel. And that's not even counting the vintage TV night, the vintage horror night, the cartoon day I want to do. Yeah, I don't know. We got a lot of stuff to do. I was going to vlog with you again today, but then I realized all I would be doing is going to Lowe's and buying yet another fence panel and hanging that up. So I spared you the repetition. 30 most memorable TV moments as I, again, eulogized television as we knew it a few videos ago. I'm done with television. I'm done with cable. I'm done with satellite. I'm done with local channels, local news, which means I'm, done with having Sunday football running in the background unless it's on some, I don't know, like that's it. It's over. It's over. And I kind of feel like sports are over too for me, because there's no Yes Network. There's no, local channels for NFL. I think that's it. I don't even get like PBA bowling on ESPN. I'd have to watch that on YouTube like a few days later, which is fine. It doesn't matter. We're not missing anything. And I don't want to care anymore. You know what I mean? So anyway, we're up to number 4 of my 30 most memorable TV moments or TV memories. My memorable memories of television from childhood and beyond. We've talked about WWF house shows, especially from MSG. We talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about Nickelodeon. We've talked about Nickelodeon. Yeah. And I think we talked about one more that I can't remember because I am so prepared for this video right now. But I know we're up to number 4. I do know that. Number 4. 4 of 30. This is a category. I think that my love for television and certainly stems. I think I think as kids, we pick up the behaviors of our role models, right? So, my mom. So I did live with my mom for a while. My parents, they were together until I was 9 or so. I used to say 8, but I figured out last night it was probably 9 that they got divorced. So I had a good run there with, I didn't move in with my grandparents until I was about 12 or 13, maybe even a little older, maybe 14. And so, my dad would work and my mom never did. She was always a stay-at-home mom. And, I don't remember, she made dinner. She made dinner, and I assumed that she, cleaned up the house. But a lot of my mom's time was spent watching television. And I would just sit with her and watch television. And it was weird because I wasn't like, I don't remember like arguing about what she was watching. Like, my kids wouldn't sit and watch you know, they would want to watch their own stuff today, or they'd want to play video games. They wouldn't just sit on the couch and watch whatever I was watching and not complain about it. I don't know what I was doing. I would just like lay around with her, you know, during off school days or whatever. And so one of my, you know, most memorable TV moments is just watching the stuff that my mom watched and sort of caring about it a little bit, or at least becoming familiar with it, right? So one of my mom's favorite shows was I Love Lucy. And I guess during this particular time, I Love Lucy was on aplenty. I think they would do like back-to-back episodes on our Fox affiliate, our WUHF Channel 31. I think around noon, you know, weekdays or whatever. And my mom would just sit and watch I Love Lucy, and I would sit there too. And I would either be playing, you know, on the floor, probably with my wrestlers, and I Love Lucy was on all the time. My mom would laugh, and you know, she'd probably seen every episode 100 times, and I would just sit there with her and watch it. And I own the I Love Lucy box set today. I have not cracked it open, but I own it. It is in the TV show on DVD collection. It's in the collection. I will watch it. Maybe I will watch it sooner than later. I don't know. Another show, or another series of shows that my mom watched during the day were probably what everybody's mom watched during the day if they were at home: soap operas. Did I like soap operas? Do I like them today? No. But I would sit there and I would watch them with my mom, or I would at least be aware that they were on. I would be doing something else while she was just stretched out on the couch watching soap operas. And these things ran from like 12:30 to like 3 or 4, I remember. And she would watch a certain, like if you were a soap opera fan back in the 80s, you were loyal to a particular channel, right? You know, your ABC, your NBC, and your CBS all had their own block of daytime soap operas, and you were loyal to one brand. You were loyal to one channel. And I remember my mom was loyal to Channel 10. And so that got As the World Turns, Guiding Light, and Bold and the Beautiful. And maybe Search for Tomorrow. I don't know. That might have been on another network. But I remember Guiding Light, and I especially remember As the World Turns. Because there was such a, I think As the World Turns was first, because there was such a serious, like, opening intro to the show, and then just the seriousness, just the attitude was so intense. And even for a little kid, I was like, wow, like there's some real stuff going on here. And I remember Victor and Nikki from As the World Turns. Victor had like this big old mustache, and he had like this accent, darling, you know, kind of deal. And he was like, he was on again, off again with this girl named Nikki. That's all I remember. And yeah, that was, and there was like, I won't remember it, but there was like an old lady on As the World Turns, and I want to say like Newman, or I don't know. There was like I don't know. But I remember, like as I'm thinking about it, I remember their faces. I think a singer named Michael Damian was on As the World Turns, and then he went on to be like this, you know, flash in the pan 80s pop singer who redid oh man, what is it? Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on, ooh my soul. That was Michael Damian. And that was like a big hit in like 88 or so. And I think he was on As the World Turns. I don't know why Newman keeps coming into my head. But I remember the look of this guy. But I can't remember. And, you know, and I probably shouldn't have been watching them. I wouldn't let my, you know, kid watch a soap opera today. They're filled with intrigue and romance and sexuality and all kinds of stuff. And it was a totally inappropriate show for me to be sitting there watching. And I think for a little while, I would at least know what the heck was going on. You know, I wasn't watching and I wasn't following the storylines, but I would be aware of them. And my mom would be overreacting to stuff, and she'd be like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" Like, she'd be like, every episode was a cliffhanger. It was crazy. So daytime soap operas, I Love Lucy. And then the nighttime soap operas happened. And that's when I was introduced to Dallas and the plethora of other nighttime soap operas. Now that also, my grandmother was also madly in love with soap operas. She stayed at home. My great-grandmother was alive. She lived with my grandma. And so when we'd go to my grandma's during the daytime, they would both be parked down there watching, in their family room, watching soap operas. And they were fans of the Channel 10 lineup too. You know, so they were coming from all angles. They were at my grandma's, but also my grandmother and great-grandmother at the time would watch nighttime soap operas as well. And our whole family, all the women in the family, the mothers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers, all loved Dallas. All loved it. And Dallas was on at 9 or 10 o'clock at night on a Friday night. But I was fully aware of what Dallas was. And actually cared a little bit about Dallas. And didn't know everything until I got older and bought the set and rewatched it 4 times. But my love for Dallas absolutely began as a 8, 9, 10-year-old kid watching it, or at least being around when it was on, either at my mom's or my grandma's. And I can feel it. Like, you can feel it. And as I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the camera, but just beyond the camera is the Zenith System 3 that's sitting on the floor. And you can just feel it. And it's a feeling that I can't describe. But, you know, nighttime, 9, 10 o'clock, the atmosphere is different. The television is giving off this electric vibe. And I can feel Dallas. I can feel it. It's so weird. I'm such a weirdo. And then, of course, all of the nighttime soap opera spin-offs, the Knots Landing, the Dynasty, which is actually really good, Falcon Crest, you know, the Colbys, which was a Dynasty spin-off. All of those were all, like, you know, kind of because of Dallas, I think. We don't see that anymore, folks. We just don't. I Love Lucy, daytime soap operas, nighttime soap operas. What else with my mom? I think that's probably about it. My dad, on the other hand, I got TV from him too. I mean, he watched dad stuff, and I didn't care about that stuff as a kid. He watched Barney Miller. He watched Hogan's Heroes, and of course, you know, just like your dad, he watched MASH. And I didn't care. And so when he was watching those shows, I was not sitting next to him watching them. But I remember them because of my dad. And I own the Barney Miller box set because of, you know, my dad. Have I watched it? No. Is the shrink wrap on it? Yes. But, you know, those were his shows. And then as I, you know, grew up and they got divorced and I would spend weekends with my dad, again, it was about television. You know, Saturday night was television. It was video rentals. It was Cops. Cops was huge. You know, In Living Color I would watch with my dad. You know, Cops and America's Most Wanted we'd watch. And I think that was his deal too. He would just watch the cop shows. And we joked because when my dad started buying houses a long time ago, you know, when I was a kid, he would buy them in the absolute worst parts of the city because that's where he lived when he was a kid. So my dad would buy or rent these houses that are today either burned down or in just drug-infested I mean, you know, inner city, awful neighborhoods. Don't bring your kids there. We would just be spending the night there, and my dad would live in those houses. And so we would joke around about cops because he's like, you have to watch this, you know, just sit on the porch. I'm like, yeah, I guess, you know, you do live in these neighborhoods. But, so, you know, my parents certainly passed down, my mom especially passed down the love for TV. Do I think that my mom used TV as a babysitter? No, I don't think intentionally, but we watched a ton of television, and there was no rules. There was no rules. My dad would cover my eyes with nudity, but that's about it, you know. And then when I was alone with him, like when I'd spend the night at his house, he didn't even bother covering my eyes. So I was like 9 years old, horribly uncomfortable, you know, watching, you know, boobies and butts with my dad. Boobies and butts. So, you know, I love it. I love it. I love television. I love the history. Memorable moment number 4 of 30. Shows that my mom would watch and some shows that my dad would watch. All right, that's all. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll do number 5 soon. We'll look at the next LJN. I'll give you a clue. It's going to be Andre the Giant. And then we'll keep going. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Good night now.